I've called this session, this video, Whose Voice Are We Listening to? It's taken me a lifetime to finally be able to say good things about myself to myself. God's word teaches us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Everyone needs to hear that. Some more than others, depending upon the early voices that we heard. I'm pretty sure that we hear sounds and voices and start feeling while we're still in our mother's womb. Was she happy and singing while she was carrying us? Or was she filled with fear and sadness because maybe we were a mistake and she wasn't prepared? We enter this world with these transferred emotions, no matter what modern science may say about the fetus. At some level, a mother knows that she's carrying a precious life. These influences in our lives continue on a daily basis and either help us in our development into becoming a healthy adult or deter us. Many years ago, I learned that our brain can be compared in some ways to a camera. Over our lifetime, it takes millions, even billions of pictures, which get filed in our unconscious mind. Each of us interprets these pictures according to our age at the time and are filtered by our environment. Two people may interpret the exact same event in very different ways. Later in life, when something outside ourselves stirs up the unconscious mind, the original picture emerges and we have a physical reaction. Sometimes we have no idea what caused this sudden shift in mood or a change of attitude. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Some things we don't even notice because they had little impact at the moment that the mind picture was taken. Let me give you an example. Not long after my divorce, I was sitting in my new home, happy, free, working, taking care of my two baby girls. Suddenly, as I sat at the piano around 4 p.m., an overwhelming feeling of dread hit me right in the gut. Today, they call the gut the second brain. I stopped and I lowered my head and I looked right at that feeling. I challenged it to tell me what it was. I wouldn't look away until a picture appeared in my mind. Suddenly, I thought of my ex-husband who would be coming home from work, and I had to be ready. And sadly, instead of joy, that prospect filled me with dread. I reminded myself that this was no longer a fact, and immediately the feeling was gone, and I was set free. This is called a paradigm shift. When the Israelites were set free from Egypt, they may have left in one day, but they had to go through a paradigm shift, going from slavery to freedom, which took them all the way to the next generation, 40 years. God created a wonderful system within us. It's called the mind-body-spirit connection. It's holistic. We're holistic beings. Usually we suffer when we're not paying attention to the warnings that our bodies are giving us. We have separated body, mind, and spirit. When we do not deal with the symptoms and simply cover them over with a Band-Aid, this can lead to depression, addiction, all sorts of illnesses. I'm not saying that we are fully in control, for the Torah is clear in Deuteronomy 28 about what would happen to us when we obey his commandments, how we're blessed, and the consequences that will happen to us when we don't, when we disobey. Rabbi, or Rav Netanel ben Yochanan, our rabbi, taught us from Psalm 139 to ask God to search our hearts, to reveal to us those areas that need healing, and to lead us in his everlasting way. Now in Hebrew, the heart, lev, refers to the mind. When we are searching our hearts, it means that we are sifting through our thoughts. As Rav Shaul told us, we are to take every thought captive to the obedience of God. When I sat at the piano that day, I was taking that thought captive that was causing me such discomfort. Don't be afraid to ask yourself, what is causing me discomfort? Then be willing to listen. If we slowly start dealing with each one at a time, confronting issues that we have buried, in time we will look at our lives and see how much we've grown and how much freer we have become. God will help us. He will bring these things that we have to deal with into our minds because he wants us to be free. He set us free from Egypt, and we need to find what aspects of Egypt are still within us. When we hold on to pain, anger, anguish, fear, unforgiveness from the past, we block the way to the gift of happiness that he has given us. He has given us the tools to deal with these things. And this tool, this very precious tool, is called free will, with which we can think, examine, question, deal with, and confront. In community, we can help each other to deal with those things. God told us who he was and what he did in the first commandment. I am the God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, so that we could trust him to always be with us. Those last days in Egypt were frightening, as were all the events that have happened to us throughout our history, right to the events of today. But let's hold on to what we know from the Torah. God has always brought us through, so let's trust the driver. You and I are not the drivers. Our Borei Olam is. Remember that he is in control, and we simply need to trust that he will never allow us to go through more than we can handle. This is how we move from emunah, faith, to bitachon, trust. His 10 commandments are the lens through which we can interpret every thought, every action, every decision that we have to make in order to live happy and fulfilled lives, no matter what is going on around us. Again, thank you for listening. Tune into our other teachings. Remember to support us and subscribe. Send these YouTubes on to your friends and even your enemies, and have a wonderful day. God bless you.